Thank you for watching part 1 of our Windows Azure Virtual Machine Hosting Licensing webcast. Let's walk through a couple of scenarios to give you a better understanding on how licensing works on Windows Azure Virtual Machine Hosting. Contoso Corporation has an application that runs SQL 2012 Standard Edition. They have purchased 4 core licenses SA. Can they deploy this existing SQL Server license onto a Windows Azure Virtual Machine? The answer is definitely yes. However, since they only have 4 core licenses purchased, the existing license only allows them to choose any base Windows Server instance with 4 cores or less. While they can choose the high memory version of Windows Server A6 with 28 GB of RAM, they cannot choose any of the 8-core Windows Server images. Let it be the regular one with 14 GB or the high memory one with 56 GB of RAM. Let's walk through another example. A customer owns SharePoint Server 2013 server and CAL licenses. Both have software assurance. They are currently running it on premises in their own data center. Can a customer deploy this SharePoint 2013 instance onto Windows Azure and have his employees to access the Azure instance instead of an on-premises instance? The answer is also yes, but also keep in mind that Windows Azure virtual machines include by default a license for use of Windows Server in hosting environment. In other words, while they don't need to pay any extra for the SharePoint license, they still need to pay for the hourly rates for the Windows Server, depending on which instance size they choose to run the SharePoint server. Let's walk through a few FAQs. Since Windows Server is not covered under license mobility, how licensing works if a customer brings their own image that has applications and middleware on top of the Windows Server? The answer is that while the customer can certainly upload a VHD with a Windows Server installed, we will charge for the Windows Server virtual machine rate applicable for the instance size. Note that the customer is responsible for proper licensing of any application or middle in that image. Next FAQ. Does a customer need to pay for Windows Server accounts to connect to a Windows Azure virtual machine? The answer is no. The hourly rate we charge already includes the account access rights already. Can a customer run SQL Server Enterprise Edition on Windows Azure virtual machines? This is an easy one. The answer is yes, and there are 2 ways to do it. Either pay an hourly rate or through license mobility benefits under software assurance for the existing on-premises license that they have already paid for. One last FAQ. Can a customer run remote desktop service on a Windows Azure virtual machine? The answer is no for the moment as of this recording May 2013. For the latest information, please see the KB article shown on this slide. Hope this webcast clarified how licensing and pricing works on Windows Azure Virtual Machine Hosting. See you next time. Bye for now.